Ripples on Deep Water by Orphaned Account on AO3. Summary. Midoriya Izuku didn't expect much from life. He knew it expected everything of him, and he was always trying to rise up and meet that challenge. Except for one little mutation in his genes that made all the difference. Except for one little change in his routine home after a pretty depressing day. Or, when All Might crushed Izuku's dreams, he chose the path of someone who rebuilds them. Izuku's going to be a hero, even if it won't be exactly as planned. Or how the tiniest wingbeat of a butterfly over the still ocean brings tsunamis to distant lands. Episode 1, Chapter 1, Kill Your Heroes. Izuku's foot caught the side of the pavement, and he stumbled, waving his arms up to orientate himself until he regained his footing. He glanced around, suddenly getting the feeling that he was like one of those characters on TV that get introduced by something really stupid. It was probably nothing. After all, why would anyone start their story at the end of a day like his? Izuku smiled bitterly, looking down the street. His mother would be worried sick. Kachan's probably pissed as hell. He's got to do his homework, which hopefully wasn't completely destroyed, and transfer to the information from the 13 to the new one. But can't that wait a bit? Doubling back to the underpass, Izuku shudders a smile. He continued to a different destination, one he hadn't exactly figured out yet. As he processed in his journey, the pitying glances he got from familiar faces became few and far in between. And he relieved in that anonymity, being given nothing but a passing glance. His plain looks are an average outside of this area his schoolmates lived in. He boarded on a train, finding a seat in a relatively empty car, and setting his burned book bag at his side, sighing as he managed to get it open, even though the sludge still clung to it made the process more difficult than it can be. He'd have to get a new one, along with a new journal. He thinks glumly as he pulls the ruined notebook from his bag, flipping through the scorched and soaked pages, ink running and making his drawings and kanji indeceptible. I should get this cleaned up as fast as I can. A sight wheezes escape out of his throat as he comes across a pair of pages. All Might, the paper proclaimed. They were balled in his hands before he even realized what was happening. Tears. Not of sadness, Izuku realizes with a jolt, but anger, are prickling his eyes. His tears unusually feel cool to his cheek, popping free without resilience. But these were hot and stinging, refusing to fall as he tore the paper to shreds and shoved them to the bottom of his bag. The reality of how absolutely shit his day has been settling in completely. If you want to be a hero that badly, there's a quick way to do it. Believe you'll be born with a quirk in your next life and take a swan dive off the roof. It's not a bad dream, but you also have to consider what's realistic. His fingers dug into his pant legs, pain shooting up from where his nails went hard enough to pinch the skin. Maybe they were right. Are you okay? No, the rose-colored glasses just got ripped off my face and smashed to bits on the pavement with my dreams. Nodding was his only reply to a girl with pink dreadlocks. The girl standing from her place and practically throws herself onto his side of the train. Izuku shifts uncomfortably as she leans over to check out the ruined pages. Ooh, this is really cool, Stranger-kun. Looks really messed up, though, and smells like sewage. The girl seems perfectly happy to invade his personal space, and the only other occupant on the train, an exhausted-looking man, huffs in amusement. I'm Hatsume Mei. Oh my Kami, is that a breakdown of the Space Hero 13's suit? He felt himself redden slightly. She snatches the notebook from his hands and seemed unbothered by the general grossness of it as she leaves through the book and the other ruined sketches of support items. You've got an eye for detail, Stranger-kun, Hatsume decides, dropping the notebook back in his lap and then grabbing his arm. ignoring his panic yelp as she pulls a big black marker from nowhere and scraps a bunch of random numbers and letters on him. If you could figure this out, I'll show you how to build support items for reals instead of just theories. The train whistle blew, and Hatsume floated off without Izuku saying so much as a word and a weird coat on his arm. Minutes ticked by before he wondered out loud, what the fuck just happened? Sue him. Sometimes he swore. He grew up around Kachan. The weird man huffs a short laugh again, but offers no explanation. Instead he asks, what's got her so interested in that beat-up thing? Izuku looks up to the notebook. He felt his heart sink a little further. This thing was really useless now, huh? As useless as he was. Hero analysis. He mumbles in response. I think she was talking about the parts where I go over improvements and support items. You only good at it? Izuku shrugs in response. I guess so. I was mostly doing it so I could analyze on the fly when I become a hero, but I'm probably gonna drop it now. Why's that? He doesn't say anything this time, just shrugging again and closing the notebook. The man sits up, suddenly looking more attentive. Is he okay? Izuku blinks at him a few times. Bags under bloodshot eyes, messy hair, white scarf, plain black clothes, and what looks like a weird belt. He wasn't homeless, from how the scarf was taken care of, but likely doesn't have much free time from the hair. Eye bags are indicative of insomnia or long work hours. Bloodshot means sight-based quirk. Belt looks more like a utility belt, which led him to the logical conclusion of, take a breath, problem child. Izuku felt himself flush again as he clamped a hand over his mouth. Damn it. He needed to dump the muttering habit soon. It wouldn't help him, and everyone thought it was creepy anyways. Sorry, Eraserhead-san. He mumbled. Eraserhead lifted an eyebrow, but doesn't comment on it. With a mind like that, you could pretty easily be an intelligence-based hero or an underground hero. Even a support hero. Izuku focuses his eyes down. Even if I'm quirkless? Eraserhead huffs again, this time sounding more annoyed. Night-Eye doesn't read the future of every villain to win battles, kid. The train whistle blows, and Eraserhead leaves without another word. Izuku stares after him, turning the phrase over in his mind. He hadn't said a single cruel word. Izuku zips up his bag, and then the train came to his area. He disembarked and ran to the corner store, using his small allowance to get a new bag and notebook, and walked home. When he finally stepped over the threshold, his mother was waiting there. Izuku, where have you been? I saw the news. I was so worried. Mom, I'm fine. Izuku interjected her tearful rambling, closing the door gently. I just needed to clear my head. Think something's over. Mom didn't seem to hear him, fluttering her hands as she walked in a circle around him. You should go get a shower, sweetie. You could get sick. He nods and heads to his room, copying the numbers onto a scrap piece of paper and staring at it for a few minutes, thinking. A1B4, A1B3, A1C1, A1, B1E, A1, A12, A1A, A1C1, A1, 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 B1, A, A1, B4, B1E, A1, C2A, A1, B, A1, B1, A1, A1, A2A, A1, C1, A1, B1E, A1, A1, B2, A1, B1, B1, A1, ABC, B1E, A1, C1, A1, A1, B1, B1, A1, C3, A1, B1, C, A1, 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 B, B1E, A1, B3A, A1, B1, B1, A1, B3A, A1, C1, A1, B1E, A1, 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 B, A1, B1, C, A1, A1, B1, A, A1, C1, A1, A1, C1, A1. How did she even fit all of this on his arm? Her handwriting wasn't that small. And she wrote it so fast. He thought it over for a while as he showered, pondering the weird mishmash. It was a pattern, and an important one. Letters and numbers in random order. Maybe it stood for something. Pattern of one and another switching. Caesar cipher, coordinates. One after another got thrown out, abandoned like trash. Binary, switching ones and zeros. It couldn't hurt. When he got out of the shower, he threw them in a binary transporter with numbers as ones and letters as zeros. But he just got a confusing mess, and simply it wasn't long enough. Wait a second. The letters and numbers weren't random at all. For the next quarter hour, he spent painstakingly writing out the numbers and letters into ones and zeros. A was 1, 0, B was 2, C was 3, D was 4, E was 5, 1 was 1, 1, 2 was 2, 3 was 3, and so on. 1, 0, 5, 6, 8, 9, 3. It was a phone number. Oh my god. Hold up. I could have sworn I have read this before. Okay, hold up. I know for a fact I've read this before because as soon as she wrote a letter in like a code on his skin, I'm like, hold up. Have I read this before? I think I have. Let me just double check. Give me a second. Give me a moment. I have not. Okay. There is no Podfic version. I checked. Okay. Now let's check my thingies. I think I would qualify this as Gen. Yeah, I would qualify this as Gen. So I would have put it in Gen. So, My Hero Academia, Gen, Control F, Ripples in Water. Not found. Okay, so I just haven't read this one because for some reason that was such, like, I read that, I'm like, hold up, I've read this before. I think I read one chapter and I got immersed, and so I then decided to do that. Okay, all right. I think I haven't read it then. For now, I haven't. Okay. Chapter 2, fair warning though, guys, major character death is listed on this, so, viewers' discretion is advised. Okay, chapter 2, Castle. So I like this one. I really did like this one. It is, I wonder what happened to Bakugou. Is Bakugou in the hospital or something? Again, a lot of these points are like things where it's like, oh, hold on. But again, it literally could just be the fact that these are traits that were happened in other fics that I'm recalling now. Because a lot of that times that happens, where it's like, oh my god, I think I've read this fic, and I check, I'm like, okay, I have not read this fic, because, unlike everybody else, I keep a record track of what I read. Not that people who don't do it are bad or anything. If you don't do it, you don't do it. This is simple. I do it mainly because I'm a sociopath. No, I do it because I like to keep a record, right? I like to keep a record of it. I do it with shows as well. I used to have this, I like my lists, okay? Every time I watch a show, I put it in my lists. I don't do it as much often as I used to, but I used to do this thing where the second I read a book, I would write it down. I would, put my review on it. The second I read the second I watch an anime, I would, put it down in my list. The second I finished a K-drama, I would put it in my K-drama list. The second I watched an American show, I put it in my American show list. The second I watched a Mexican show, I put it in my Mexican show list. Like, I had a list of shows. I no longer do the list of shows anymore. That one's kind of fallen off. But when it comes to fan fiction lists and book lists, I still have them. I still keep records of what books I've read and what fics I've read, specifically what fics I've read. I know this month alone, fucking Christ, how much have I read this month alone? I don't even want to look. Fuck, don't tell me. Hold on. Because I know this week alone I've read like 400,000. around there. 400,000, yeah. So overall, oh, okay. All right, that okay. I just checked. So written down, I have 150,000. So I have read 600,000, almost 700,000. I'm gonna go ahead and round that up to 700,000 because I know for a fact I'm gonna read at least one more 100,000. 700,000 this month alone. Small month, by the way. I'd like to say that a small month is small month. It is 28 days. Small month. Okay. This fic, apart from the fact that I thought I read it, seems to be really cool, really nice. I think Leaf is also going to podfic it, so that one's also going to be cool to listen to and stuff like that. Sorry if my energy isn't as rambunctious today. I noticed that I've had to do, like, I had to take retakes on some of the lines that I've said because I'm not as rambunctious. I don't know. Major depression hitting me. Woo woo! No, I'm just tired. And depression. But no, I'm physically tired, but I can't sleep. Does that make sense? I'm physically tired, but I can't sleep. Also, my voice has been killing me. Before you go spouting your nonsense about breaks, I have been taking breaks, bitches. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.